morning. This video is to explain the review packet that you will be receiving over the next few days. Some of you are opting to have it emailed to you, and some of you are going to have it mailed to you. I just want you to take a few minutes to kind of go through it and, you know, give you some hints and ideas of how to use this packet. I wanted to emphasize this is not mandatory. It's just something to keep our kids going. On the cover letter, it explains just some activities that you can keep doing every day. In this packet, we have included the first thing are all of our sight words for the year. We went ahead and gave you the whole list right here, just the list of all the 6 weeks. And then we went ahead and did the whole year's worth of flashcards again. The best thing to do with these is to cut them up, mix them up, and go over them. You do not have to go over all, there's like 112 or something in here every day. Just, you know, go through them, and if you know for sure that your kid knows, you know, the ones for sure, you know, you don't need to practice those every day. Go through and practice the ones that they maybe not be as familiar with. Another good thing to practice is counting every single day. We included a hundreds chart. You can practice counting to 100. Another thing we do in kindergarten is we start at 20 and count backwards from 20 to 1. You can have them practice counting by tens. And if they're ready to move on, you could practice counting by fives. You can also use this hundreds chart to find a number and name one more and one less and stuff like that. Okay, this sheet right here, this is for handwriting. We only have included one just for, you know, mail out purposes. If you have access to a copy machine, it would be great to have multiple copies of this. When we're practicing handwriting, we don't really want to focus on are they writing perfectly in the lines. We want to focus on are they creating the letters correctly? Are they backwards? If it is a letter that digs in the dirt like G, lowercase p, are they doing that? Are your capital letters taller than your lowercase letters? Stuff like that. If you don't have a copy machine, which most of us don't, you can do this on any paper. You can do it on the back of this paper. You can do it on the back of anything that you don't need, on the back of a piece of junk mail. Anywhere you can write. You can use sidewalk chalk. You can use a dry erase board and a dry erase marker. Did you know you can write on mirrors with dry erase markers or windows? So those are just some fun things you can do to practice. We also want to keep our kids writing. So we included this writing paper. Once again, this is something that you would have to make copies of, but you don't have to use this. If you look though, a good thing to use on the bottom of this is the editing checklist. After they write their story, have them go through and check off and make sure they've done all these things. This first one is they've used spaces. We like to call them finger spaces. At this point in the year, most of our kids are not having to use their finger spaces. They just use their space, but if they're having a hard time remembering, they can use their finger, they can use a popsicle stick, a crayon, nothing too huge. We don't want them to be ginormous spaces, as I call my kids, just a normal, about this size finger space for this size lines. This next one are your word wall words. This will be a great thing to have that sight word list, not the cards, but the list with all of the sight words as they're writing. And if they know that it's a word wall word, they can go find it and make sure it's spelled correctly. Make sure every sentence starts with a capital letter. We're also trying to remind them that if it's a name, it needs to be capital. Nothing else should be capital. And then make sure there are end marks. Something we are learning right now in kindergarten is when to use, you know, a period, an exclamation point, and a question mark. So that is something that is a great learning opportunity when they are writing. After they're done writing, or even before, at some point in the writing process, we like them to illustrate their picture. We encourage them to add details that tell the setting of the story, add details that tell you the plot or the action, whatever is happening in the story. We don't just want a person. If the story is about a dog. And have them use the whole space to make their story. If you have some difficulty coming up with things to write about, we included these writing prompts. You do not have to use all of these. These are just some ideas. Your kid can choose one a day to write about and color it after they use it, or they can check it off however they choose to do it. Some of these are fiction, some of these are nonfiction. This is a great list.